Today we are looking at the BigLinux distribution. So this is the latest November release ISO file. So here is the boot menu. So there are a lot of options in the boot menu like the NVIDIA new drivers, old drivers and everything. So choose whatever you want. So I'm going to boot with the first option. So the desktop environment and also what it is based on, I'm going to discuss everything as soon as it's booted up. So the booting process will take around like a 1 minute to around like a 1.5 minute. And also I'm running it on the virtual machine, which is a VMware with a 60 GB of virtual disk, 8 GB of RAM, and my CPU is i5 1240p. So the desktop environment, you should be getting the KDE Plasma, and also the ISO files will be available in 3 kernel versions. So one will be the older LTS version and the newer LTS version, and finally the last will be the stable Linux kernel, which is right now is 6.12.1. So I'm going to show you all those kernels and also the download process, everything. So here it's taking a bit of time. So we're going to wait for a few more seconds and let's see how it looks. So this is the latest ISO file and there is no release notes or anything like that. I'm going to provide every information in the description as well. And also I'm going to show you everything on the screen. So you need to wait for a few more seconds. And we already have the mouse cursor right on the screen right here. So it's kind of like a customized distro. So here you should be seeing some options like a lot of languages available. So it's from the Brazil, so it's a Brazilian Linux distribution. So choose whatever the language you want here. I'm going to go with the English United States and choose the desktop configuration. So this kind of looks like a Zorin OS appearance. If you already use the Zorin, you can exactly see the same options here. Kind of like a appearance you find in the Zorin OS. And if you didn't watch that Zorin OS 17.2, you can watch it in my channel. There are already videos available, like a light version, core version, and also another version. So there are like 4 editions of the Zorin OS 17. So you can watch those videos in my channel. So I'm going to choose the option like next G maybe, or else we can go with the new. So I'm going to go with the new. And the another option you should be getting the choose the system appearance. So choose whatever you want. So you should be getting these some basic KDE Plasma themes, but I'm going to go with this option. It kind of looks like a cute fish OS. So there is nothing related to the cute fish OS, but we're going to see how it looks and how it's going to perform. So this is the November ISO file, which I already mentioned. And the wallpaper you get is the cat wallpaper, which is like a time traveler or like a futuristic. It's not a futuristic, but it's kind of like a mechanical things on the top of the cat. I think it's like a AI generated image. Should be. And here is our desktop. So it took almost like a minute and 10 seconds like that. And we're going to change the first display settings. And let's see the system monitor. So in the VMware, it automatically changes the display resolution. You don't need to change the display resolution. And my monitor resolution is 1920 into 1080. And about the pre-installed applications, when you click on the all applications, you should be getting all the pre-installed applications. You don't get the Firefox browser or anything like that. You should be getting like a Brave browser. So which is kind of like a heavy. Usually, even if you run it on like a main PC or work PC, it's going to consume a bit of resources because it's a Chromium based browser. So I'm going to show you in a few minutes. So these are all the applications you get. Now let's open the system monitor to see the RAM consumption and also the CPU consumption. Don't try to skip anything because I'm going to show you all the process and also how it's going to perform throughout the video. So it's better to not to skip because you should be missing some important things. So BigLinux is based on Manjaro Linux. So it's based on Manjaro Linux. I'm going to show you all those things like typing fast fetch, neofetch, and INXI as soon as we open the terminal. So this is the base or the base graph of CPU and RAM. It's consuming like a 1.6 GB and the CPU is around like a 30%. About the applications, let's see. I didn't touch any settings or anything. So these are all the things will open as soon as it's booted up. And about the history, you need to run like a 60 seconds to see whether the CPU graph is stable or not, or else you can judge it like seeing the graph whether the ISO file is stable or not. So it's pretty much stable right now. So there is like a high peak here and there, so we need to ignore that because there will be some issues. And also we need to see what version of the KDE Plasma we are using, because the 6.1.4 had some issues and I think 6.1.5 was fixed. Let's go with the overview. And also, as you can see, there will be some difference in the user experience in the virtual machines when compared to the when you install it on the bare metal. So I'm talking about the real hardware. When you install it on the real hardware, the user experience will be a bit better. So you need to understand these common things. In the virtual machines, there will be some minor issues. So you should be seeing the KDE Plasma version 6.1.5, Qt version 6.7.2. So you get the 6.1.5 version. And also there is a latest version of KDE Plasma, which is 6.2. If you want to go through all those information, you can go through all those information from their official website. Or else I already made a lot of videos on the KDE Plasma 6.2. You can watch those videos and you can get all the information properly. So now let's keep it like in the right side corner, and I can see like a jelly mode, kind of like you see in the Zorin OS. Same thing is in the BigLinux also. So you need to change the you need to turn on the toggle in the Zorin OS like a jelly mode. The same thing is right here. So it's kind of like a Zorin OS, but it's a KDE Plasma desktop environment. So there will be some changes. There will be way more changes. It's not like a same thing, because the application menu is kind of different. So the Zorin OS is kind of related to like a Windows, but this is also similar, but it's way closer to the Windows. So that's what I'm trying to explain here. And these are all the applications which we already saw. So I'm going to open the terminal first. Let's find the console. Let's type in some commands to get some distro information. And also is the console or the terminal is a bit of customized. So the work is done better in the BigLinux. So if you're trying to install this distribution, do all the research, and if you're satisfied with every information, then go with the installation, or else you can just try to go with alternative distributions, because we have a lot of distributions available in Linux market. So now I'm going to type in like a NeoFetch. Hit enter. So NeoFetch is pre-installed. So if you want to install the fast fetch, you can install the fast fetch. It's based on Manjaro Linux. So you can install the fast fetch. Let's type in inxi-sv8. This will grab the complete distro information. So we already have all the important information right in front of us. Like a distro is BigLinux, kernel 6.6. So there is like a 6.1. So I choose the recommended version, which is 6.6 is the LTS version. 6.1 was also the LTS version. I'm going to show you what's the end of the date for these kernels, which is December 2026, but I'm going to show you in the official website itself. And here is my CPU. Uptime is almost 7 minutes. So it didn't take that much of time for the booting. It took just like a 1.5 minute, which is a bit more in the virtual machine. It's okay, but in the real hardware, it is like a bit more time consuming. So I don't know how it's going to perform on the bare metal, but if it took like this much of time in the booting process, that's a weird thing. We can call it like that. So usually the booting process in the real hardware should take like around like a 10-15 seconds, or maybe like a 20 seconds if you have like a SSD or all those things. So if you are already using, do let me know in the comment section how it's working. Now let's go through all the information one by one. System host, it says like a BigLinux because we are running it on the live boot. If we install it on our real hardware, the host will be our name or the account name. So the kernel 6.6. It's a 64-bit. Compiler GCC, you get the latest version, which is 14.2.1. And desktop environment, you get the KDE Plasma version 6.1.5. So if you have like a low-end PC, I don't think it's going to perform better, because KDE Plasma, you already know it's going to consume a bit more when compared to the other desktop environments. GNOME and KDE Plasma will consume a lot of resources. So you need to have like at least a 4 GB of RAM in order to run this type of desktop environment. So about the Qt, we already saw the Qt version right here, which is 6.7.2. So it's not available right here, but we already got the information. Frameworks version, you get the 6.6.0. Distro, it's called like a BigLinux based on Manjaro Linux. Here is my RAM. I already mentioned that I'm using 8 GB of RAM. The available RAM will be like a 7.7 and it's consuming like a 1.8 GB. As you can see, the same thing is on the system monitor also. So about the CPU, 12 Gen i5 1240p is my CPU. The flags, vulnerabilities, everything is right in front of you, which is clearly unnecessary for the video. So I'm just going to read all the important things. About the graphics, here is the graphics, version is 2.20 and display is Wayland. So as you can see, there is like a lot of lag and hiccups here and there. So it's not a smooth experience even in the virtual machine. As you can see on the CPU and the RAM is okay, but the CPU is pretty much glitching almost like a 20% to 2%. So that's the reason there is like a minor hiccups here and there. So keep an eye on the CPU and the RAM throughout the video so you can judge it on your own whether it's going to perform better or not. So this is the latest version, so this is how it's performing. For the older version, check my older videos of BigLinux, just search it in my channel and you should be getting all those information. XOR version is 1.21.1.14. with the XVLAN, there is a XVLAN version 24.1.4. and the monitor resolution, my present monitor resolution is 1920 x 1080 and OpenGL version is 4.5, EGL version is 1.4. Compact version is 4.3. Mesa version, you get the 24.2.4, which is the latest version. And what else we have? LLVM pipe 24.2.4. And about the audio, here is the ELSA. And pipewire version is 1.2.5. And about the network, Bluetooth, partitions, these are all, everything is unnecessary for the video. So these are all like a repos and everything. So I'm just going to skip those unnecessary things and we're just going to read all the important things. Process 382 and Clang version 18.1.8 and the systemd version is 256, init systemd version. Compiler GCC, we already mentioned that. Shell bash version 5.2.37 and here is the ZSH version 5.9 and INXA version is 3.3.36. Let's try the fast fetch. So fast fetch is not pre-installed. So if you want to install the fast fetch, you can install, but the NeoFetch is pre-installed and we already got the INXA version. So there is nothing left. So if you want to install the fast fetch, you can install the fast fetch. And about the installation, let's check the installation. And we're going to go to the downloading process after this. Let me show you the installation. And the CPU is pretty much unstable throughout the video, so it's almost like a 10-12 minutes and we are still seeing the CPU graph, so which is going up and down. So it's not pretty much stable in the virtual machines. I don't know how it's going to perform on the real hardware or on the bare metal. And also the installation or the installer application didn't open instantly. It is taking a bit of time here also. Let's open it. So it's still taking a lot of time. I don't know why. And here is like a date and time. There is some options here like a Halloween and every holidays is provided in the calendar, which is a good thing. And about the status and notification, the same things. So there is like a weather report, desktop changes, mic noise filter, power management. And I think this is like a brightness and color. So these are all the options you get from the desktop. So it's still not opening. So these are all the applications. If you want to add and remove web apps, you can add or remove. And here is like an app store. So it's better to open the browser instead of waiting for the installer. Let me open the Brave browser. And we can go to the official website and also find some other kernels information also. So the Brave browser will take a bit of time here. And we already have the browser. So I thought it will take like a bit of like a 20-30 seconds, but it didn't take that much of time. But the installer is taking a lot of time, so that's the issue. Let's try to open the installer. So it's still not working. So this is the official website of the BigLinux, or the Brazilian Linux, you can call it like that. It's clearly up to you. And you need to change the language because it will be in the Portuguese or in the Brazilian language. So if you are new for the BigLinux, you can get all the information from the official website itself. Here is complete information like a web applications, office program, works even without installing. So it's basically they're calling like it's a live boot. You can use it live boot. So most of the Linux distribution has the live boot, so it's not a new thing for the BigLinux. You can find it in the Linux Mint. You can use it live boot in the Linux Mint, Manjaro, Ubuntu. Every well-known distributions has the live boot. So here is some description or some information about all the about the BigLinux. So for the languages, there are few languages available for the installation, and you already know all the Linux distros has a lot of languages because of the Calamares installer. So participate. Not only Calamares installer, other installer also provides a lot of languages, so there is no problem with the languages. So there are like some rare distributions which doesn't provide like a lot of languages. They will provide like a basic their own language. For example, like some distributions from Spain will be having some Spain language, and some distributions from other countries will have their own language. For example, like a Russian distribution sometimes has only Russian language. So there are some countries which doesn't provide multiple languages, but you need to find the well-known distributions. So about the news, let me find the news. Let's click on the news. Let's see whether we have any release notes or anything like that. I didn't find any information when I was downloading, so I don't think there will be anything here. So we don't have any news here. And about the downloads, let's click on the downloads. I'm going to show you the kernels or the system requirements also. So about the minimum requirements, you need to have like a processor of a 64-bit Intel or AMD, 2 GB RAM memory, 8 GB of storage space. So I don't think 2 GB of RAM going to perform better if you have like a 2 GB of RAM. So basically, if you have like this much of minimum requirements, it's going to be having like a minor hiccups here and there. But when you open the applications, for example, like a Brave or some other applications, if you open two applications, there will be a major lag. So because the KDE Plasma will consume around like a 1.6 GB or 1.7 GB as soon as it's booted up. Even if it's on the real hardware, it's going to consume that much of resources. So I am not going to say it's going to perform better. It's not for the low-end PC. I'm clearly saying the proper answer here, and I don't want to stir it up. So I just want to recommend this minimum requirements. So the recommended requirements is like a processor of 64-bit Intel or AMD, 4 GB or more RAM, 40 GB. So this is the exact resources you need to have to run this distribution, because it has the KDE Plasma, and also it has the Brave browser, and also the installer, a lot of things which consumes a bit of resources. So you need to have at least a 4 GB of RAM. Even if you have 4 GB of RAM, there will be a chance if you open like a 3 or 4 applications, it's going to be have like a minor hiccups. Because I have like a 8 GB of RAM, I am still facing some issues. So we can understand it's a VMware, but it's still going to consume a bit of more resources. So it's a bad option to have like a Brave browser, because the Brave browser will consume a lot of resources, and it's because it's a Chrome based distribution. Let me show you the version. I forgot to show you that version. About the Brave, here is the Brave browser, which is 1.73.91, which is based on Chromium, which is 131. So it's going to consume a bit of resources. So if you don't think that, so you just need to open the system monitor, and as you can see, it's consuming 2.5 GB. I opened just a single tab in the Brave browser. It's consuming CPU is pretty much unstable throughout the video. About the applications, here you can see all the applications, and the installer didn't show up. So I'm just going to quit the applications, and I'm going to open it again later. So it will consume a lot of resources here, and these are all the recommended requirements and the minimum requirements. And about the kernels, choose whatever the kernel you want. So they're going to recommend the 6.6 version, because 6.6 is the latest LTS version, and the 6.1 is the older LTS version. 6.11 is the latest LTS kernel. It's not the LTS, it's a stable version. So it's better to go with the 6.6. I'm going to show you the Linux kernel and we are going to discuss about it. Let me open the Linux kernel website. Just type in like a Linux kernel. The first link will be obviously the official website. So right now the stable version is 6.12.1 and also the stable version 6.11.10. And we are using the 6.6 version, and there is also 6.1 version. So this is the stable version. Let me show you 6.6 and 6.1. So here is the 6.6, which is the long-term version. Here you can see, and also about the 6.1, which is also the long-term version. So when you click on the releases, there is a brief explanation of whatever the kernel is called, like a description for the long-term, for the mainline, stable, and the pre-patch. About the 6.6, it was released on 2023 10/29, and the end of life will be December 2026. And about the 6.1, it was released on 2022, and the same end of life for the 6.1 is December 2026. So you got all the kernel information, and I rather recommend you to go with the 6.6 or 6.1 instead of the 6.11. So you can download with the browser, you can download with the torrents, it's clearly up to you. So just click on the download and it's going to download the ISO file, and the ISO file will be around 3.7 GB. So this is how the ISO file looks. So you should check the version or the date 2024 11/28. So it was released just a few days ago, and also I'm using a VPN, and also I'm running it on the VMware, so it will be a bit slower. And the main programs, you should be getting the KDE Plasma 6.1.5, KDE Gear 24.08, for example like Dolphin File Manager and everything which is related to the KDE Plasma. The versions will be 24.0.2, whether it's a KWrite or any KDE Plasma desktop environment applications will be versioned with the 24. And the LibreOffice version will be 24.8, and the Brave browser 1.73. So these are all the main changes of this specific release, which is the date is like a 2024 11/28, or you can call it like this version. So these are all the main changes. There is no major changes. These are all the basic changes, and you can run it with the all the eChair and also Ventoy, Unet Bootin. You can use all those things, and you can watch how to create, how to install, and do all those things. There is all brief videos here. And the installer is you should be getting the Calamares installer, so I don't think there will be any complicated things. If you want to check my older videos, you can check it out, my older videos. I already showed you how to install in those videos. So let's try to open the installer again and see whether it's going to work or not. So it's consuming 2.0 now. So I'm going to open other things. Let's check the App Store. And there is also like a big store. I don't know what it is. I don't really remember. So the big store opened. Here are all the internet, office, graphics, multimedia, games, system, development. So let's open the browsers. So there is also like a night mode for the App Store, not the main App Store. It's a big store from the BigLinux, I guess. And launching add or remove software failed. So the App Store didn't open properly. There is an issue already. So if you want to go with this application or the browsers, you can go and click on the install. It's clearly up to you. Click on the application. So you get the 131 version, you don't get the 133 version, which is latest version of the Firefox. If you didn't watch that video, you can watch it in my YouTube channel. I already made a YouTube shorts of the Firefox 133. And also I'll be posting videos daily, and also the shorts, YouTube shorts, and also in the community page I'll be providing latest Linux releases and also packages. So if you want to subscribe and also turn on the notification. You should be getting all the latest Linux, Windows, iPhone, iPad accessories. Everything will be available in my channel. So here are some games. So you can install whatever you want here. So that's the App Store. If you want to search, you can search by clicking here. There's also like a simplified mode. So these were all the big store, and the installer didn't open. So we still have some issues. So it's better if you already have the BigLinux already running on your PC. I don't really recommend right now because right now I'm facing some issues, so I'm not going to recommend this. But if you still want to try it, you can try it in the virtual machines. If you don't face any issues, then go with it. But I'm facing some issues here. And there is like a Steam and Spotify and all the other things. So if you want to test it, you can test it. So the main changes I already showed you. The LibreOffice, the KDE gear were the changes. Other than that, I don't think there will be a major changes. And it took a few minutes and we already have the App Store. So there was some issue popped up here in the notification, but the App Store opened still. So these are all the applications with the versions. So Inkscape, if you want to download, you can download. Here are all the installed applications. Let's wait for a few more seconds and we can see the installed. So there is like a Mac OS loading ball on the mouse cursor. So these are all the installed applications. So the user experience is laggy, way more laggy when compared to the before booting. So it has like minor hiccups here and there. It's not a smooth experience. I'm facing a lot of issues throughout the video. The installer didn't open, the App Store took a lot of time. So this, you should be seeing all these issues. So that's the reason I always say never skip anything in my videos, because it's a complete overview of all those things, like a kernel, features, everything, and also there will be some issues. So I am not going to trim anything because I don't want to fool you just by trimming all those things. I'm going to keep everything as possible so you can judge it on your own. Don't blindly listen to someone and try to install. Always check the video properly. Not only mine, you can check like a 3 to 4 channels, check all those videos. If you're satisfied, then go with the installation, or else you don't need to go with these distributions. There are a lot of well-known distributions available. So you get the Pacman 11.7.2.0 and other things like a preference. You can customize all those things which is already known for you. So this was the video of the BigLinux latest version, and at the end of the video, this are all the resources and about the applications. This is how it's performing. And I already mentioned it's not a smooth experience. I don't see any smooth or anything like that. So it's kind of heavy side. It's not like a lightweight or anything like that. It was way heavier when using. So I really don't recommend this version because I faced a lot of issues throughout the video. You already saw complete videos, so you should be judging on your own. So those were my thoughts. And about the wallpapers, you get a bunch of wallpapers only of cats. Maybe he should be a cat lover, but we already have some dogs. So I think he is like an animal lover. He posted like our dogs and also the cats. So this one is kind of cool. So I'm just going to change it to like a dog 6 wallpaper. There are few cute wallpapers of a dogs and also cat. So I added a lot of wallpapers. I think those are all like a AI generated. So this one kind of looks cool. So I'm just going to keep it like that. So the shadow and the color theme, everything looks good to me. So this was the video of the BigLinux, which is also called like a Brazilian Linux. Let me show you the logout screen and I'm going to end the video. So like I already said, these were my thoughts. And if you want to subscribe, you can subscribe. If you want to turn on the notification, you can turn on the notification. I'll be posting videos daily. So let's see the logout screen. And here is how it looks. So it's not the logout screen, it's the same process which we saw in the beginning. So you should be seeing the same thing here. So I'm going to end the video here. Thanks for watching. Peace out.